Hello everyone, just me here, Ben, today. Just gonna make a quick video about Sonic 1. That's it. Just gonna play this game, probably at the beginning and the end in one video, not really sure. Just gonna, I don't know, I kinda just wanna have a chill time. Also because we kinda need content, so I need to record something, get something out there. No one else really is online right now, I can't really record a group video with everyone else. So today I'm just gonna go through this game, talk about my thoughts on it, kind of the series as a whole. Because I have a lot of opinions on this franchise. As all throughout my life as I've been playing it. Oh, don't look at that. So I'm playing Sonic Forever, which is a PC decompilation. Well, it's more built off of the decomp that for Sonic 1 that is for the mobile phone version. Came out like although the mobile phone version came out like 2011 by Christian Whitehead. It's like the best version of the game. It's it was like widescreen at the time. You could play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all in this game. Bunch of extra secrets and whatnot. There's even like a 7 special stage they added. It was a really neat version, but it was stuck to mobile phones for way too long. So finally, someone went out of their way to kind of decompile it, I guess. Well, I say finally. I mean, it took a while to be done, it was in development for quite a while. But now Sonic 1 and 2 have fully decompiled, and then you can rebuild them on PC, and that's what Sonic Forever is. It's basically just a version of the Sonic 1 PC decomp, but polished up and able to be played with extra new features, like new modes, and even characters as well. You can, like, mod in extra characters. In this instance, I'm playing a mod of the game, which adds, like, I mean, it's pretty much just for visual flair to make the actual gameplay look a little bit more interesting. Like an atmospheric palettes mod. Who made it again? I have it written down somewhere. Yeah, we've got atmospheric palettes by JunkieBot, and unique act palettes and music, which you're also hearing right now, by Zanman, Low Player, Elspeth, and Carl. So all those people have made a version of Sonic 1 that stands out a little bit more, makes repeat playthroughs a little bit more interesting to look at visually, and I quite like it. So that's what we've got going on here, and we're already at Act 3. We're already at the boss here, Robotnik. I mean, this boss is it's a classic, but I mean, I think we as Sonic fans, I say we, that was kind of mean. I don't want to assume anyone here watching is necessarily a Sonic fan. That's like a derogatory term. My apologies, but we have seen this iteration of this boss so many times, and I guess a little bit tiring, but I think in the original it was a perfect boss. Because, I mean, Green Hill Zone, it's interesting because although this game was so popular back in the 90s and shit like that, the amount of people you would ask who got past Green Hill Zone, got past Marble Zone even, like, there's so little. Like, everyone just played Green Hill. And it was an easy zone. It's the fastest one in the game, by far. I mean, at this point now, this playthrough's going to be kind of slow, especially since I'm dog shit, apparently. Okay, anyway. So, I think having Green Hill Zone have an easy boss like that, it makes sense, and it's iconic. Everyone has seen it, because so many people must have boot this game up and played Green Hill Zone to fight that boss. It's pretty interesting, when you think of it that way. That makes sense why it's so even more popular than the fact that it's the first boss of the first zone. But I don't really think all the iterations of it that they've done over the years, any have really been as successful as the first boss that they have ever done. I mean, Sonic 4 did a version of it, but, I mean, the problem with Sonic 4 bosses is they all were just homing attack spam. I mean, that's what's the whole game, really. Which I think is a big problem. I think in 2D, it's hard to make the homing attack work, because you're supposed to have, like, in the 3D plane, the homing attack is designed to be able to, target onto enemies and just bash, 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 keep a, it's harder to jump onto an enemy in a 3D space without the aid of a move like the homing attack. In the 2D space, it's a lot harder to create interesting enemies when you can just press A in midair and just go straight to them. Like, the game design potential is it's just not there. And then you end up making design that make it so homing attack chains all over Sonic 4, so people criticize so much about that game. Alternate path? Oh, it's probably because I have to use the homing attack a million times. So generally, when people make... Oh, god dang it. When people make, you know, ROM hacks of classic Sonic games, or even mods sometimes, you see the homing attack, and although it can be kind of entertaining to use, I generally think there's a reason why these games have never had the homing attack. The closest thing we ever get to it is an air dash, which I think Sonic Advance 2 and 3 did. I don't think... Did Advance 1 have the air dash? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But the air dash is a, you know, pretty cool technique. I'd like to see that get used more. It's fun to gain a quick burst of speed. And Advance 2 is all about the speed in general, I suppose. I apologize. I'm kind of going really off topic from Sonic 1 here, but... I mean, Marble Zone is just is, you know? I mean, I've played this game countless times, and, Marble Zone never really gets better for me. Like, I feel like I play the game more, and I gain a better appreciation for zones like Spring Yard and even Scrap Brain. Like, I mean, Scrap Brain's a little bit, bullshit, but I do appreciate the platforming challenges there, and there's a lot of unique secrets to Scrap Brain Zone that I probably won't be able to, pull off in this run, because it's kind of hard, but I do have a big appreciation for the difficulty of Scrap Brain Zone now. And you can still go kind of fast, but Marble Zone, I don't know. No matter how many times I play it, I just can't ever gain a full appreciation for, like this. I just had to sit here and wait. Like, that's just not very interesting. Like, okay. Like, I'm not sure if these crushes are on, like, a cycle. Like a global cycle. I don't think they are. I don't think the speed you go up until the crushers really allow you to gain the opportunity to skip having to wait. Who knows? I could be wrong. So I forget if it's an Act 2 or 3 here. I think I passed it. There's like a skip you can do for one of Marble Zone. You can like go straight from the beginning all the way to the end for like an invisible wall. It's kind of stupid. But I mean, the only thing I really like about Marble Zone, aside from I think the music, I mean, obviously I have these mods on that really make the game much more atmospheric, as they call. But I've always appreciated the aesthetics of Marble Zone, which is interesting because Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant, even Sky Sanctuary to an extent, are the kind of zones that get reused aesthetically all throughout the series a lot. And Marble Zone doesn't, and it's kind of a shame because I do really like how the zone looks. Also, I forgot, you have to wait on this one. Oops. But I suppose, I don't know, Sonic fans, they've always kind of... I feel like we always want to have original aesthetics for zones. Like, anytime a new game comes out, we hate to see reused content. I mean, some series are more tolerant to reused content than others. Obviously, Oh, fuck's sakes. Did this go up again? It does, right? Okay, good. Totally forgot about that. But, like, I engage in the Yakuza fandom a bit because I'm a huge fan of that series. And that series, they really they don't give a flying fuck about asset reuse. But I feel like the Sonic community cares quite a lot. And you gotta understand, with Sonic, the whole concept of reusing assets has to be more accepted because it's just how much more expensive it is to make Sonic levels compared to other platformers. Especially the 3D boost games. Like, with these 2D games, you know, not so much. But... Oh, crap, my controller. Yeah, so, but to make a level like Dragon Road from Sonic Unleashed, like, God, that must have... Like, I don't know the dev time for Unleashed, but that must have taken a really long time to fully concept art, layout, you know, everything about Dragon Road to be the way it is. That must have taken so much dev time. Can't even imagine it. And then the amount of money it would have cost to produce all that. It's no wonder that the boost games can really only get so little amount of levels actually made for them. That's why Sonic Generations is like 2 hours long and why they have to force you to do challenge acts. And for the record, I like the challenge acts. They're a pretty easy way to, you know, once again, reuse the level design and put new aspects on the you know, like new mechanics to it. Like, I really like using the skateboard in City Escape Classic Sonic. He had a skateboard level, but you just use it the whole time. That was pretty fun. I like the friend axe, but, you know, complaining about this stuff, you know, I understand. You just kind of want it to Sonic to only be about going from point A to point B, and there's no other, like, extra garbage. But, especially with the 3D boost games, they kind of have to exist. And I appreciate the attempt at extending game lengths in Generations' case. Werehog, I don't have as much sympathy for. I think I think Werehog was definitely just, oh, God of War is big, let's just make God of War, but again, but, you know, Sonic has stretchy arms, that's so cool. It's not really that cool. The Werehog may have some interesting speedrun capabilities. What the fuck? But, I don't know. I'm never going to replay the Werehog stages from that game. I mean, oh my god, don't look at this gameplay. Oh, fucking hell. But, you know, I'm not going back to the Werehog, even though I have some respect for some of the cool stuff you can do with him. Like, really, I think even the biggest Unleashed fans can admit that, right? That's why I can't necessarily get on board with the notion. Like, I feel like a lot of Sonic games are going back and forth between popularity, right? We have so many games that are negatively received at launch, and then they become popular later. Oh, what the hell? Man, I always, like, got spun out by that guy. He just looks like, just like Sonic, and I thought, was that the intention? Probably. I mean, he is rolling around in a ball. That's what I always thought as a kid, anyway. I was always intrigued by him. But, yeah, Unleashed definitely is one of those games. I mean, it's been kind of a few years now. I feel like the Unleashed boom in popularity in the mainstream again kind of happened a few years ago. But I think it's still relevant to talk about, because although I've always appreciated Unleashed, I still find it really hard to recommend Unleashed as just a solid game. Like, although it's so easy to say as a Sonic fan, oh, Unleashed is like 8 out of 10, like I love Unleashed, like the gameplay is so good, I love the level design, the music, even the story, but man, just try recommending your average schmo, you know, Sonic Unleashed. They're gonna get tired, I think, because like, not only is it difficult, but not knowing the metal locations. Like, I mean, how many of people who love Unleashed actually replay Unleashed and not just go back to the day stages? You know, think about that for a second. Like, you have to get Sun and Moon medals to even progress in that game. And it's a little bit annoying, I'd say. I would definitely say as a kid, I did not appreciate going through Sonic Unleashed, like trying to beat it when I was little, because I just wasn't very good at getting the medals. Even though I loved going back to the first 3, you know, however many day stages there is until, like, Adabat, you know? Like, Adabat requires such a huge amount of medals. And, you know, especially as well, people gotta consider that as a kid, you may have, like, a small amount of games, and those amount of games, like, if you're bored and you're stuck playing one game, you're just gonna go play your other game. Or, like, you may even replay the same game multiple times. And, I mean, I was gonna use this as a knock against Unleashed, to be fair, because there are other games kids could be playing that don't require medal requirements. But, to be fair, that's also a point in its favor, because you could just keep replaying the good stuff in Unleashed and gain a positive appreciation for that kind of gameplay as well, you know? You may not care as much about the Werehog if you can't even beat the game, but all you're doing is replaying the day stages, because you just can do that, right? And that's another interesting thing about the Sonic series. So many people have different priorities when it comes to what they really care about with Sonic. And it all, I think, depends on what games you grew up playing. Like, I feel like the kids who love Sonic Adventure 2, who always, you know, they grew up with the Chow Garden, the amount of content in that game, there's so much to do, all the different gameplay styles, the story's so ambitious, you know, Shadow. Like, you think about it, and the type of people who love Adventure 2 are the ones that appreciate a really all-round kind of package. And I feel like some games, like Generations, I was gonna say Forces, but no one really likes Forces. But I'm just trying to think of Sonic games that don't really have a lot of meat on their bones. Actually, the classics is a good example. You know, this game I'm playing right now, Sonic 1. What really is there to this game? There's 6 zones, 3 acts per zone, and a lot of the zones are, honestly, kind of mediocre. You mean, you got Labyrinth Zone, that's kind of bad. Like, you've got Marble Zone, not very fun. Spring Yard, I like Spring Yard, but, I mean, I can't really defend what I'm doing right now. This is not very interesting gameplay. So my point is that the amount of content that you can enjoy in Sonic 1 is pretty low. And if you grew up with Adventure 2, you're probably going to love most of it, and the amount of extra objectives you can do, you know, with how many emblems are in the game, basically what I'm saying is, certain fans are going to prioritize the fact that this game has so much to do and extra little side activities to distract you. Whereas another fan who may have just played Sonic Unleashed Day Stages 100 million times is happy to replay the same thing, even if it's, you know, not very much of it, you know? Like, there's not much content, as long as there's really, really good content, right? Maybe they're like you know, they're natural born speedrunners, you know? They're okay with playing the same thing over and over again. Adventure 2 doesn't sound as appealing, because you gotta sit through slow mech stages, and if you're really unexperienced, the treasure hunting stages can also be kind of a chore. So, I totally get that. And also, certain games just don't hold a candle to the story of something like Adventure 2. Adventure 2 is so much more ambitious, so much more going on. So, I mean, the moving pieces is... I mean, the movie 3 coming out in a few weeks it's based on that story. And even if you don't obviously make it the one-to-one, which definitely isn't, the concept alone is really solid. And I don't think games afterwards hold a candle. Like, Adventure 2 may be corny and the translation may be utter ass and the lip syncing in the English version is non-existent. People are talking over each other. But that's something you can, like, I don't want to say the ambition, because if I say the ambition, I'm going to sound like an 06 fan. I don't want to sound like one of those. Surely, I mean, if you know anything, if you've watched any videos on this channel before, you know, we have a Sonic 06 Let's Play. Let's just say, oh, for fuck's sakes. Let's just say we're not positive on that game. I mean, Sonic games are constantly going in and out of popularity in the franchise. 06 is a much more recent example of that. You know, we talked about Unleashed, but 06 is getting up there now. And I think, I mean, it's super hard to pinpoint it down. I don't really want to say, like, oh, it's P06 gaslighting people, because, I mean, surely people are smarter than that. There's no way they just only acknowledge that that's the whole reason. Oh god, I really don't want to fuck this part up. There's a really neat secret you can do here. Does it respawn? Do I have to reset the level? I think I do. Maybe if I go up here, it'll come back. I'm gonna restart. This will be worth it. I mean, I'm sure anyone who's played Sonic 1 knows about this particular Labyrinth Zone secret. Not anyone who's played it, sorry. Anyone who's very knowledgeable on the game. But it's super unique. And there's even some interesting fact about it. Hopefully I can pull it off. I'm not, like... I'm hyping this up right now, and I'm not even, like, there yet. So, bear with me a second. But yeah, 06... Again, I think it goes back to the what you prioritize thing, right? I mean, 06 has a ton of passion and ambition. I can't deny that. They had a lot they wanted to do with that game. But whether it was time constraints or... okay, good. I got it. So you have to hit that switch and then jump up here using that platform. Pretty awkward. And this little thing appears. Dude, I remember learning about this. I don't even know where I heard it from. It might have been from a Mega G-World video. Anyone knows who he is. Great YouTuber, by the way. Told me that, I was like, holy crap, that's just so neat. And this ring here, if you wanted to get 50 rings in this stage, or you wanted to take this path, like, that ring wasn't in the original release of Sonic 1. I think it was added in, like a reprint for the original game. It might have been... I know it was in the Japanese version, I'm pretty sure, because the Japanese version came out like a month later. But, you know, my point is that ring was not there. You could not get 50 rings for the special stage in Sonic 1 if you took the shortcut in Labyrinth Zone. But later on, they actually added the ring back in, so you can get 50 rings just barely. As long as you don't get hit, of course. But, I mean, the special stages, I'm not really a fan of Sonic special stages. I'm gonna be real. I don't really enjoy going for them on repeat playthroughs. Because I just prefer... sorry, I have a bit of a hiccup. I just prefer constant action, and going out of my way to do a special stage is just not... It's not that appealing. I don't like having to go through Sonic 2 special stages. I mean, sure, I can get them all in Emerald Hill like everyone else, but, like, they're not even that difficult. But I'd much rather just play through the game, you know? Oh, fuck. I did not think I'd bounce that high. That was pretty interesting. Of course, I'm using, elemental shields in this game. I'm using a lot of... This is a lot of not Sonic 1 right now. I mean, it kind of is, but... I don't know. I mean, it's weird because the whole, Sonic modding scene is so big that the community can sometimes... I mean, I almost accuse 06 fans of, you know, just only believing P06 is the way you treat the game, but I do think there is a case to be made that games like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic Adventure 2, as well, are made a lot better with mods, and some people forget that. Some people forget that they have a bunch of mods in the game, you know? Like, I'm sure there's tons of people who, play SA1 through the Dreamcast conversion, and, like, I mean, sure, to be in that game's case, it is a little bit more fair because it is, meant to be how the Dreamcast version is played. But something like Radar in SA2 tracking all the emeralds, or Spin Dash in Sonic 1, or no speed cap in Sonic 1. Dude, if you're used to no speed cap, try playing Sonic 1, like, original again. Like, it's... I mean, if you haven't played it a lot already, I mean. Because it's kind of a struggle, I'm gonna be honest. Speed cap, it feels awful. But in general, I think it's always fair, especially when you're, like, you want to be serious about, like, critiquing and rating games, you know? Like, especially if you really like sharing your opinion on the internet. I'd, really prioritize making sure you're playing the release as faithful as possible. And I think it's even more interesting to cover original releases and less so re-releases as well, because that's how the game was originally designed, right? Everything about Sonic 1 was designed without a spin dash and with a speed cap. I mean, spike glitch. Where the hell am I going, by the way? I actually don't think I've been this pathway before in Labyrinth Zone Act 2. Is this backwards? Yeah, apologies for the interruptions here. I actually have no clue where I'm going. I play this game a lot, but I tend to kind of auto to the same pathways every time. Because, I mean, I don't really have to put too much thought process into what I'm doing. As I am just, you know, I'm commentating. I don't really need to focus on a game I played 100 times. But I definitely am going a new path right now. Though I do believe this is the very large room. With the switch right about here. Watch this. Oh, it's over there. I bet. Sorry, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's more interesting to go on original releases and stop focusing on remasters for serious critiques, I think. Like, don't play Sonic 1 forever with mods and Spin Dash, I think, for your first experience with Sonic 1. I think to an extent that's... If you want to be serious, I mean, if you're just a casual, do whatever. But, yeah. But, I mean, I think that kind of stuff goes without saying for me, personally. I will say, though, I'm really happy that I am playing this version of the game. I don't have to deal with Labyrinth Zone, oh, shit. Labyrinth Zone underwater section, without a bubble shield. There's 2 bubbles there, and I could have gone for the bubbles, but nope, I get the bubble shield, actually. And now I don't have to worry about this garbage, because Labyrinth Zone, Act 3, I believe is what I'm playing right now. Kind of frustrating. I don't really like the sets. Kind of annoying. But yeah, we're up to the halfway point in this game. And I think Sonic 1, personally, it's... I mean, if I were to go on my serious critique, I think it is it's a B tier. I played it enough where I can play something like Labyrinth Zone, even the original release, and I can look past it. I kind of think half of this game is good. I think Green Hill is a fantastic first zone. Like, dude, if Green Hill was bad, Sonic would be done, bro. They wouldn't have escaped the first game. Like, the amount of people that could just play Green Hill and keep doing it, and just get enough out of the game that they could just keep replaying that zone. Like, bro. Green Hill was bad, there'd be no dog shit franchise that no one takes seriously. Think about that. But, yeah, Green Hill's good, Marble's bad, Springyard is slow, but I appreciate a lot about it. And Labyrinth, no one can defend this one. Surely there's no one that likes Labyrinth. I mean, comment down below if you like Labyrinth. That's, you know, fair, like, you know, you're entitled to your opinion. I just don't agree with it. But you can make an argument for it. I'm interested in seeing any kind of discussion about Labyrinth Zone's quality. Because, I mean, with Sonic 1, they didn't really know everything that was going to work with Sonic. I mean, this is just a very... What I'm saying right now is a very common theory as to why shit like Labyrinth Zone even exists. But, I mean, if you ask me, if I was designing a high-speed game about, you know, momentum and crap like that, and going fast, I would not make a zone where the main mechanic is going really slowly in water. But, I mean, who knows? It was their first time making action platformer game like this. Who really knows what, like, would have worked and what wouldn't have worked? Maybe they really didn't know if they wanted to focus more on intense sections where you're going to run out of water, and you have to use what little speed you have to survive. I mean, maybe that was the thought process, and from a game design standpoint, it's good variety. Sonic 1 has a lot of variety. I mean, I think Green Hill and Starlight are the most similar zones to each other, which is definitely why they're the most popular. I mean, it's hard... You'd be hard-pressed to find someone who thinks Starlight is bad. I think Starlight is definitely the second easiest zone, and it's right up there with Green Hill for the iconic status. I mean, I mentioned I kind of wish Marble Zone was shown more often in games, but I think people just don't like Marble Zone, and anyone who's seen Starlight can really appreciate what it's going for. It's got a great aesthetic, it's got great music, and it really deserves the praise it gets, I think. A lot of pathways, too. I took the worst pathway possible in mind in my run here, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I think Sonic letting Starlight Zones is meh. No, sorry. I was gonna say Scrap Brain Zone is meh. My bad. That's the next zone we're gonna go through. And the final zone. It gets better the more I play the game, but it's still kind of awkward, and I don't really appreciate... I mean, I prefer Sense of Speed. Like, my favorite of the Advance Trilogy is Advance 2. I just like the boost mode. I like going really fast. And something like Starlight Zone lets me do that. I'd say that as I get hit and fall all the way down. But I can appreciate the variety in Sonic 1. And that's, I think, a good way to learn for a first game, is to try and create as much different gameplay possibilities as you can. They made 6 zones, and they did a good job differentiating them. Sonic 2 focused way more into just high speed and all that, making we should go as fast as possible. And like, you look at Aquatic Ruin, for example. It's a water zone, like Labyrinth Zone, but unlike Labyrinth Zone, you can actually ignore all the water if you take the right pass. If you're good enough, the water is completely ignorable. They realized that what people really enjoyed was taking the great pass and maintaining a lot of speed, and that's what they should prioritize the game design on. That's why Sonic 2 is heralded as one of the greatest game sequels ever, and I completely agree. Sonic 2 it's so good. It's so impressive. But they managed to cram a game that, I mean, originally people just couldn't get past Marble Zone in Sonic 1, or they couldn't enjoy the game past Green Hill. But Sonic 2, you think about how many people have played and beaten Sonic 2 and gotten, at least to Aquatic Ruin Zone, the third zone. It's a big deal. And in Sonic 3, I mean, at that point, Sonic Fever was dying down a bit, but Sonic 3 is even more quality, in my opinion. I think that game is insanely good all throughout. So, there's a couple of stinker acts, I think. I think Sand Opera's Act 2 is bad, and I don't really care about Marble Zone. Not Marble Zone, sorry. What's it called in Sonic 3? What's the grass level called in that game? Not the... dang, I'm causing a blank. Whatever the third zone is. What's after Hydrosity? That one. Yeah, that... Guys, sorry about that, guys. I have dementia. Early onset dementia, the classic. But yeah, Sonic 1 itself, I think, ranks in the B tier for me. I can always go back to this game for a decent time. It's quick. I also really like this boss, by the way. I'm not really taking full advantage of the cool stuff you can do. Like, you can hit him with the bomb, like so. Boom. Definitely the best boss in Sonic 1. A lot of potential for speed there. Speedruns of that fight are pretty neat. Sorry, quick water break here. As we move on to the final zone of the game. It's not a particularly fast Sonic 1 playthrough here. I've definitely done quicker before. But it is what it is. We're gonna get there. And, I mean, if you think about it, Scrap Brain Act 3 is pretty short if you know the cool skip, which I will definitely be doing. So we don't have a lot going on here. I mean, Scrap Brain, it's a final act. It's pretty tough. The whole... game difficulty should ramp up naturally in a way like this. I just don't appreciate the game design much for Scrap Brain. I'd much rather just something more faster paced. But, I mean, I'm going to try and take the good pass as much as I can here. Because I do like these disappearing platforms, because you can... There are some instances where you can take a jump forward, and it's pretty neat. But final zones in Sonic, they're definitely hit or miss, I think. You've got... I mean, does Wing Fortress count? I was going to talk about Metropolis as the final zone for Sonic 2, and I mean... goes without saying, Metropolis Zone is not really liked in Sonic 2. But if you count Wing Fortress as the last zone, then sure. But I would consider it Metropolis. That's like the real, actual last zone. Definitely not very well received. Death Egg is pretty good. I think people like Death Egg. Launch Base is good, if you count that as well, in particular. But you have games like Sonic Unleashed, which have Eggman Land, and that stage is so polarizing. Like, I still don't really know the consensus on Eggman Land. I feel like it's more on the negative side. But at the same time, you know, Unleashed apologists, they can defend their zone back to hell, and I'll listen. Like, to an extent, it does indeed challenge everything you've learned up until that point in a big, long gauntlet, and I can appreciate that. And I actually kind of like the stage now, as I've played it more and more. I hated it when I first played the game, and, I mean, it's another thing where, I feel like a lot of people say it's bad, so you kind of go in expecting it to be bad, and you're like, oh, what is this, 40-minute level? Ugh! And then you have a repulse and you vomit everywhere, at a Sonic level being 40 minutes on the first playthrough, but, you know, it does have a lot of good qualities to it. But it's still polarizing. So, Scrap Brain, though, I think generally it's received negatively, but that's just because this game, I think, has shifted in the negative side of the fandom, I think. You know, we've talked about games like Unleashed in 06 going from really negative to more positive, but Sonic 1 I definitely think is on the other side of the spectrum. I think Sonic 1, once heralded as a classic, but not as good as Sonic 2. It still is, but it's not... I think because a lot of people have now grown up with the adventure games and the Boost era as well to an extent. Crap. You didn't see that. That was awful gameplay. You know, the people who grew up with the classic games aren't as wild online defending this game as much. So it's more up for scrutiny now, I think, Sonic 1. I don't see as much as Sonic 2, mind. Sonic 2 still gets insane praise to this day, even if it's just not as talked about as much as the adventure and boost games, which are definitely more interesting than Sonic 2. There's definitely a lot that can be said about those ones, compared to Sonic 2, which has been discussed to absolute death. I mean, I'm not really talking much about Sonic 1 in this video, as much as I thought I would. But there's definitely a case to be made that Sonic 1 is falling down in popularity. You can definitely prove that. I've definitely seen Sonic 1 down in the C tiers lately, you know? Oh, in the D tiers even. Some people hate Sonic 1. They think the only redeemable act in this game is Green Hill Zone. And you know what? Fair enough. If you're not big on the classic Sonic formula, it is pretty simple. Not like there's any crazy mechanics in this game. Anyway, what is interesting about Sonic 1, what I always appreciate about it, is what I just did. So, Labyrinth Zone, Act 4, as I like to call it, is a terrible zone, but you can go underneath the platform at the beginning and hit a switch, and bam, look at that. We're here. In this section of the level that basically no one really sees, if you don't know the skip. And pretty soon, we'll be done with this level. Okay. I apologize. Of course, as I'm doing live commentary, many things like that are about to happen, where I straight up lie to my audience watching this video. I apologize for my actions. I will not do them again. I'll be making a video about how shit I am at Labyrinth Zone Act 4. But I do like the secrets that... these are the kind of thing that I think were put in the game because of guidebooks, actually. This is just something I've now actually thought about. I've never thought about this before. Like, game design like this is intentionally put in because maybe they could sell, like, guides, or maybe... You know how you, like, call up Nintendo Power, like, yo, what's up, how do I beat this game? And then they'll, like, give you, like, an insane gamer tip. Like, they can put crap like that in these books and really help players become super gamers at, Sonic the Hedgehog and know the skip to Labyrinth Zone Act 4. So I think it's really interesting, actually. I meant to spin dash with the 3 jump buttons there, and I kind of did not do that. Oh, I did the same thing. See, when I have done my bit of speedrunning in Sonic 1. I have a video on this channel of getting a world record at one point in time for Green Hill Zone, for Sonic Origins. And it's, you know, if you do any speedrunning for Sonic classic games, you know that to go fast, you're gonna have to hit all of the jump buttons at the same time. So you kind of angle your thumb in a way to press all of them, especially if you're on like a DualSense controller or something, or like any kind of modern controller. You have to angle your thumb in a certain way. That's what I was doing just now, but I kind of pressed it too much in that instance and jumped. So, you know, classic rookie mistake by me. But dude, this boss, as a kid, fuck this boss, man. I think it's easy as hell now. And I think in general it's definitely an easy boss. Especially if you're playing a version of the game with Spin Dash. You can literally do what I'm doing right now and ignore the whole boss. Like, technically, the game design is that you can, like, stay in between the balls and do a jump and jump in between. But, no, with Spin Dash, you can just kind of skip all that. Which is kind of why, I mean, it's hard to judge this game with Spin Dash, you know? It's clear it was never meant to be designed that way. But, I mean, with that, we're actually done. That is the end of Sonic 1. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just kind of a look back at this game, using it as a way to contrive discussion, you could say, about the other games in the Sonic series. I enjoyed making this video. I might make more in the future. Who knows? See you later. Oh, by the way, I'm doing an extra part here. I didn't realize that in the demo, for some reason, you die in the credits. You die in the credits in this mod. I have no idea why. That's really funny.